You are listening to Beyond Believing. I am your host, Katie Ann. I am a certified life coach, and at the end of my show, I'll share more information about how I can help you one-on-one and how we can get in touch. All right, friends, welcome to Beyond Believing, what I am calling mom guilt. A couple months ago, I shared a post on Instagram about the differences between women surviving post-divorce and the women thriving post-divorce. And I had some pretty polarized comments here, which is okay. But one comment I wanted to address and what really kind of sparked my idea for this episode was one mom commented, said, "But how when your kids are so sad?" And what I shared with her and what I'm going to share with you today is that we have learned to internalize our children's feelings and experience and the feelings and experiences of everyone else around us. What I have learned in my coaching training, and I really believe what the Bible is teaching us, is that everyone can have their own experience and it doesn't have to mean anything about who you are. Now, our children are a little bit different because they are reflections of us and we're teaching them and training them up and guiding them in this journey. But what I want to offer is that you get to model for your children how you go through really hard things. Not to add more guilt onto you there, but just because it's intentional. And when we stop and remove the negative emotion, which really, honestly, is what Satan is trying to keep you in. He wants you to feel guilty. He wants you to feel heavy. He wants you to feel anxious. He wants you to feel scared. He wants you to feel worried. He wants you to be stuck in that dirty pain. And I did a whole entire episode about dirty pain and clean pain before, but Christ is trying to teach us healing and clean pain. And how do we suffer in not silence, but suffer in a productive way, in a clean pain way that moves us through to action. The most powerful thing you can do for your children post-divorce is teach them what it looks like to be in a healthy relationship with yourself, with God, and with everybody around you. Your children are watching and noting everything you do in this season. The best thing you can do for them is model what you want them to learn. Our brains want us to believe there's a problem all the time. It's solving for problems. It's looking for problems. And one of the most powerful things you can do is discern and learn what are the actual problems. What are the problems you really want to focus on and do something about? And that is what the power of coaching really teaches you how to do. What are the problems right now that I'm focusing on? The best thing we can do for your children is to model what you want for them to learn, and our brains are constantly scanning for problems. Our brain's job is to find solutions and to keep us safe and protect us. When we were in ancient days surviving for our lives, we had problems like running from a tiger. That is a problem. We don't have those problems modern day. So our brain is looking for different problems to solve to keep us safe. And right now, post-divorce, our brain is constantly looking for problems like my children are suffering, or my ex isn't participating the way I want him to, or he isn't doing what I want him to do, or he's doing all these things that I don't want him to do. And we're thinking about all of these problems that we have no power to solve. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verses 11 and 13, I was reading this a while ago, and this just really stood out to me when I was thinking about spiritual warfare and the attacks of Satan, because again, this dirty pain is from Satan. Clean pain is Christ. So you have to have the power of Christ with you. You've got to be in his word with him and able to understand and discern and to combat all of these problems that Satan's trying to throw at you. Okay, so this is talking specifically about our thoughts. Verse 11, "For who knows a person's thoughts except the spirit of that person, which is in him? So also no one comprehends the thoughts of God except the Spirit of God. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit who is from God, that we might understand the things freely given us by God. And we impart this in words, not taught by human wisdom, but taught by the Spirit, interpreting spiritual truths to those who are spiritual." So in order to combat this is all just spiritual warfare. Satan is going to try to convince you there's all these problems, your children are suffering, Your children are having this experience and that something has gone wrong and you need to solve that problem. Well, the problem is you went through a divorce and that is very traumatic. And I'm not trying to diminish that in any way. But what I'm saying is you can be proactive. You can do something to be a survivor and a creator of your life moving forward versus being a victim to this constant negative emotion and spiritual warfare from Satan trying to make you believe that there are all these problems you have no ability to solve. Okay, survivors versus thrivers post-divorce are looking and paying attention and giving their energy on the problems they actually can solve and want to solve. Now, one woman was very upset about me. She thought this was a very insensitive comment. And what I want to point out here is this doesn't have to be a certain timeline. This doesn't have to be a certain way. This is just saying, I own this experience for myself. I am choosing to take this much time to get through this season. I am taking this specific path because I know it's the one for me and with God's help for you. If you really want to be thriving post-divorce as a Christian woman and intentionally creating your experience, you're not waiting for your ex or your children to give you permission to thrive and be happy. You are waiting for God to show you when it's time and how to thrive through this season. It is absolutely possible. It is absolutely your choice and your decision. And when you make it your power, that is when you let go. You really step into that power of God in you and you really put on that armor of God around you and you really use and wield his weapons to combat all that is coming at you because that is a lot. And I'm not saying it's not heavy. I'm not saying it's not hard. It is hard. I'm right here in it with you. It is hard. There are dark days. There are times when you're crying, but that doesn't mean those things don't exist. It means you allow them and you work through them and you move forward. So I came up with about 5 things that Christian women post-divorce are doing to thrive and create their experience post-divorce. Okay, so number 1 is they take time to heal. This includes forgiving. Forgiving yourself, forgiving your ex, forgiving whoever hurt you in your childhood or in your adulthood experience, everyone. It includes learning to tune in again to yourself. What are my interests and needs and beliefs? This is including sitting with God, letting him carry your burdens and putting your faith in him to guide you in this journey and to heal you. This is like learning to really give all of that over to him. And this is a time to like really figure out what I'm calling romanticize your life. How can you have the best experience in this season, regardless of how hard it is? I love to buy myself flowers. That is just like one of the things I do, having a fresh vase of beautiful flowers. I'm actually a terrible flower or arranger, but it's something I've just really learned to enjoy. And it just brings a little bit of nature into me, into my home. I love to get out and be active. Do something that really just fills your heart. Take yourself on a date. Have you ever gone on a date? I did not used to do this, and I've actually really, really struggled almost my whole entire life to be alone. But learning how to be alone has been part of my healing process. And just being able to enjoy sitting still after having 5 kids, one of whom has a special need. I went from full-time mom of everything to like feeling like a part-time mom, quite honestly. I've only got them half of the time, and it felt like I moved into like part-time mom status, even though I have children, all 5 of those children, they're mine always. I'm always going to be their mother whenever they need me, day or night, whether they're in my home or not. I am their mother. But it has felt like that is a thought I've had to learn to deal with, is that I'm now part-time parenting. And that's been part of my healing process. So learning how to sit and be honestly with God and allow him really to speak into me and be a part of my life and to just be at peace with where I'm at has been one of the most powerful things I've learned how to do. I was listening to another podcast this week. It's called the Set Apart Podcast by Leslie Ludy. If you haven't heard of her before, I encourage you to go check that out. She's currently doing a series called He Is. And she referenced this scripture in Revelation that I have always followed my childhood, but I didn't realize it was in Revelation. And so I looked this up a little bit, and I've actually started reading the Message version of the Bible and just been in love with the wording of the Message. I just think it's beautiful. The scripture is Revelation chapter 3, verse 20. And this just really summed up healing with God in this season for me. So I hope this is helpful for you. But he says, "Look at me. I stand at the door. I knock." This is a full sentence, you guys. This blew my mind. I knock. This is an active action. Christ is telling us he is here always. He is waiting. He is ready. He is actively pursuing us. I knock. Full sentence. I love that so much. Okay, so the rest of the verse says, "If you hear me call and open the door, I'll come right in and sit down to supper with you." We have to be ready. We have to invite him in. And I know we've heard this before, but this just hit me in such a different way in this phrasing today that he's not just knocking. When you are expecting a visitor, you're listening for the door, right? You're waiting for the doorbell, you're waiting for the door knock, you're waiting for a honk, you're waiting for the sound of a car arriving, you're waiting for footsteps. You are actively listening. You are actively waiting for that guest. And Christ is telling you he's the guest. He's right there, ready, willing, able. And we have to recognize his knock and allow him in. And he says he's going to come right in. And he's going to join us as a friend, sit down to supper with you, as an intimate act with you. He wants to be close. Now, this is what the rest of this verse says in the Message. "Conquerors will sit alongside me at the head table, just as I, having conquered, took the place of honor at the side of my Father. That's my gift to the conquerors." He is saying when we open the door and let him in and allow him to come and sit, we get to sit at his right. What? This is mind blowing. Okay. But this is part of the process of healing with God. Sit with him, open the door, give him your burdens so he can heal you completely, wholly, fully. It is the most amazing, precious gift anyone can ever give you in your life. And in this season, it is crucial for you, especially as you're modeling for your children how to get through really hard things. Show them what it looks like to invite the Savior in and let him heal you. It's okay if they see the ugly parts of it. They need to see that you are struggling and that you're overcoming. It is one of the best things you can ever show your children. Okay, number 2. Women, Christian women post-divorce who are thriving and creating their own experience, learn to feel instead of numb. This is a really painful season. It is full of difficulties. It is a lot of change. It is an emotional roller coaster. It is a lot, okay? Learning to face the emotions, accept them, and allow them without acting out of them. There is a difference and a misnomer that having emotions requires you to act on them. And that is not true, my friends. I was actually also listening to my study. I told you I'm doing the Bible in 1 year with Nikki Gumbel and Pippa Gumbel. And it was in Ezekiel. Ezekiel is talking with the Lord, and the Lord is reminding Ezekiel of all these promises he's given to the Israelites and all these covenants he's made with them. And the Israelites have over and over and over again gone back and betrayed him and tried to go back to their former ways and tried to just get out of really following God. And he says twice in Ezekiel, I believe it's 25, he says 2 different times that he was so angry with the Israelites and what they had chosen to do, but he did not act out of his emotions because he wanted to show them who he was. He said, I will not act out of my emotions, but out of who I am. And this is also what we need to learn. Having emotions does not equate to acting out on them. You can allow emotions and feel really hard, difficult, painful things without having to do something about it. They can just be. I have a quote on my wall that says, "The secret to happiness is to let every situation be what it is instead of what you think it should be." So again, what is this problem we have in our mind is basically saying whatever's happening right now is not what's supposed to be happening. And when we allow the situation to just be what it is, we call it fighting reality. You can argue with reality all you want, and you're only going to lose, but always. So the more you try to change the reality of what is, the more overwhelmed, the more stressed, the more anxious you're going to feel because you are going to have no control over those things. You don't have control over what your ex does or says. You don't have control over how your children feel or behave, but you can acknowledge them and you can choose to show up how you want to. When we stop fighting what is and just allow it, the more at peace we'll feel. Now, this doesn't mean we have to agree with it. It doesn't mean we have to go along. It just means we acknowledge it. I see you're in pain. My little child, I have one of my kids that's just really struggling. And it's totally understandable. He's going through a really hard time. I can just say, I see that you're in pain. What's really going on for you? I can hold space for him because I've showed myself I can hold space for myself. I can be in pain. He can be in pain, and we can process it in our own way. We don't always want to feel sad, but sometimes we are. And sometimes we just need to be sad. And the more you model that for your children, how to handle those in a healthy way, the more your children are going to feel safe to have their emotions and to communicate with you about it. Okay, so number 3, women thriving post-divorce are proactive instead of reactive. No one believes their ex is a saint. Most Christian women post-divorce have a quote-unquote difficult ex with very different ideas about pretty much everything. You are not going to be able to change your ex or your children, like I mentioned, but focusing on who you want to be and how you are going to be every day for yourself and your children is the difference between being proactive or intentional and reactive or unintentional, just allowing things to happen. Being proactive just means you're not allowing your ex or anyone else to decide what you want or who you are, or what kind of life you live. Again, it's this what is the problem here? If you can identify what you're telling yourself is the problem, for example, with my little boy, I could have told myself he shouldn't feel this way because when he feels pain, I'm feeling pain. That's really what you're saying. When my children are struggling, I struggle. And that's okay. But it doesn't have to continue in this cycle. You can just acknowledge, hey, my kiddo is suffering. What do I want to do to show up for him or her to help him through this process? If it has anything to do with changing your ex or changing their feelings, you are going to find that is an unsolvable problem because it requires you to control someone else, which you have no ability to create a solution around. That is why that cycle keeps going. Being proactive looks like you're giving up the narrative, any narrative that requires your ex to change in order for you to have the life and experience you want for yourself and for your children. Being proactive looks like focusing on problems you can solve, and you get to work solving them. And just as a hint, all of those problems are things that you have control over, which is only yourself. The problem here is I don't like how I showed up for my child. I want to do something different. I can do something different. How do I want to do that instead next time? And then you go to work doing that. That is being proactive. All right, number 4, Christian women post-divorce, thriving and creating their life, build their faith. Nothing will bring you more peace and healing than God will. Lean into him. Open the door. Let him sit with you. Sit at his right hand and be the conqueror of your life with his help. He's got a map for you. He's got fantastic guidance for you. I can't think of anybody who has better advice than the Lord. And nothing is going to bring you more peace than he's going to. Let him guide you in the season. Let him help you rebuild. Let him show you what that looks like. Step into the power of God inside of you and put your trust in Him, be still with Him. Give Him time and watch what He does in you and for you, and in turn, your children. This, again, is scripture I came across this week. I had to share. This is in John 3, verses 34 and 36 in the Message. This is what he says. The one that God sent speaks God's words. And don't think He rations out the Spirit in bits and pieces. The Father loves the Son extravagantly. He turned everything over to Him so He could give it away. A lavish distribution of gifts. This is not little breadcrumbs from God and His Spirit in you. Lavish and extravagant gifts does He have for you. Okay, then he continues to say, that is why whoever accepts and trusts the Son gets in on everything, life, complete, and forever. And listen to this, a caveat on the flip side, that is also why the person who avoids and distrusts the Son is in the dark and doesn't see life. All he experiences of God is darkness, and an angry darkness at that. That is a powerful contrast, friends. These are options, building your faith, leaning into Him, allowing Him to sit with you, to allow yourself to sit with Him. That's what you're really doing when you open your door. When you open the door to Christ, you are allowing yourself the peace He has and the gifts and distribution of extravagant, lavish gifts for you. It is full, complete. Or you can try to do it all on yourself, and it's going to feel heavy. It's going to be an angry darkness, and it's going to be hard. You get to decide how long you sit in that. You get to decide when you open the door. You get to decide. That is all within your power. Okay, lastly, Christian women post-divorce thriving and creating their experience and their life take the reins. They follow God's guidance. They apply for the job they want. They listen to the desires God puts on their heart and create joy in everyday moments. They step out in faith and start building. They understand this is what I have control over. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to create. This is who I want to be. And then you go and do it. You don't need anyone's permission but God's. This season is a blank slate for your future. And with His help, you're going to write it and then create it when you allow Him to do it with you, to guide you on that process. Now, again, there's no quote unquote time. There is no quote unquote limit or specifications that you have to follow to get there or to do this. This is your journey. Women thriving simply own their journey. They simply accept this is their choice. And this is what they want to have. And when you accept this is what I want, or this is not what I want, and then you go to work creating it, that is when you find the peace, healing, and really are thriving post-divorce. All right, women, that is all for today. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great day. You have been listening to Beyond Believing with Katie Ann. If you have enjoyed any of what you have heard today, if anything I have shared has helped you in any way, please take just a very quick minute to leave me a 5-star review or rating on your podcast platform of choice. I share all of this content with you for free so you can have it. So if you can, in turn, let me know how you have benefited from this. And if you would like to hear me share about a specific tool or struggle you are experiencing in your post-divorce journey as a Christian woman, please contact me. I would love to hear from you. And if you would like to hire me to speak at an event or work with you, please reach out to me at the email in my show notes. Thanks for listening.